So I guess I'll just start with my story,
Yeah, go
right?
ahead.
Because you haven't met me, you don't really know much about me or my family or my business or anything. So I'm a second generation pest control business owner. My parents started natural resources in 1986 as just a way to bring in additional money for the family. Both my parents had full-time jobs. My dad went back to college when he was in his mid 30s and got 2 degrees in about a year and a half in entomology and pest control technology. After that, my mom and him started the pest control company, just cold calling whoever they could from the white pages and the yellow pages. And they started their little business that way. And my dad did everything. He did, you know, tenting, termite, lawn and ornamental pest control, general pest control, trapping, whatever he could get to make some extra money. And after about a couple years, they hired their first part-time tech, and it was the only hire they ever made until they passed the business on to my brother and I. So I have an older brother. His name's Chris Mareshi. He started GorillaDesk, which is a CRM in the pest control and lawn care space, and we have companies using it that do all sorts of things: window washing, fire inspectors, home inspectors, all sorts of stuff. Anyone that runs a route has to be out in the field and do a bunch of stops can make use of the software. So backtrack
Nice.
to like kind of when I jumped in. He's 8 years older than me. So when I was kind of wrapping up my collegiate career, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I changed my major a few times. I started out pre-med and transferred all of my science credits to a biology education degree. I was planning on possibly being a teacher. I thought about being a police officer at one point. So I was kind of in limbo. And at that time, my brother had built a route on his own. He's very entrepreneurial. He started a bunch of different businesses and then found his way back into pest control, which then led him to developing GorillaDesk. And if you're not familiar with GorillaDesk, you should check it out. It's pretty cool. We're pretty big at this point. I think we have 5,500 businesses using the software all over the world. Australia,
Nice.
Canada, South America, US. So he went on to build GorillaDesk about a year and a half after I jumped in to help him with the stuff he was building. And my parents, the whole time, they really just had one part-time guy managing a really small route. I think the most money they made in a year with the pest control company was around 75K. And so then my brother built his route. We got the business up to around a quarter million. And then that's when he went to go do GorillaDesk, and I kind of grew it from there. So when he left and I had it, my mom had gotten sick and she was the one managing the office. So it was pretty much my mom, me, Curly, our part-time tech that my parents hired originally, and our friend Patty, who was just helping my mom with the books. So when my mom got sick, she had lung cancer. She was going through chemo and recovery for a couple of years.
Oh,
Patty
wow.
took over, but I then hired an admin to help Patty manage the schedules and stuff while I was in the field. And I was in the field a lot, and I was commuting from Boca originally to Miami to run the routes in Miami. So that was like an hour commute every morning. Then I would work my full day. I'd start at like 8 or 9 and I'd finish around 6, sometimes 7. Sometimes I would stay in Miami if my route was in Miami the next day, or I would drive back up to Boca and come back down. So it was a little chaotic in the beginning, and I was probably you know, 23, 24 around that time. And then my mom got better and things started to calm down a little bit, and I was able to start hiring to help me because I was overwhelmed in the field. So then I had an admin then. So then I brought in another tech to help me in the field. And then I just kept growing from there. Now I have 9 employees. We'll do about 1.1 million this year. One of my employees is remote, full-time in the Philippines. Patty's still with me part-time managing all my books and insurances and vehicle maintenance and stuff like that. I have one lead technician who's licensed, Curly, and 3 other techs, and then I have 2 other admin. So I'm kind of
Okay.
overstaffed, but it's by design because when I was left with the business, I had to decide kind of what I wanted to do with it, right?
Yeah.
Initially, I wanted to support my brother and work with him and grow it together. But then he had this idea for GorillaDesk, and which was great. But then I was left with it, and I had to decide what I wanted to do. And at one point really early on, I thought about selling it when we were doing maybe around 300 because I wasn't really happy. I was working really hard and I had just gone through a couple years of really, really hard work and I wasn't sure if it was for me. So I had to decide kind of at that point, like, do I want to let this thing go and try to find my way into something that makes me really happy and that I like doing? Or do I want to figure out how to create the lifestyle that I want using this business as the mechanism? And that's
Yeah.
kind of what I did. So I decided to build a lifestyle business and I went down that path and I joined a entrepreneurs organization called EO and that helped me a lot. So with the Facebook groups that I was in, there's a lot of value there, but then surrounding myself with a bunch of entrepreneurs that own businesses that were going through a lot of the same struggles kind of that I was with hiring and understanding the finances and strategy and executing on stuff. It was really neat because your friends are great friends, but they can't relate really when it comes to the business stuff. So it's hard to talk to people just
Yeah.
to try to figure out how to get through stuff. So the EO
Yeah.
was great. And that's kind of where I learned a lot of my business knowledge being around all those people. And there were some really heavy hitters in there, some guys that had nine-figure companies in that group. And it was great to be able to have access to them, to talk to them, just to learn about their journey. And, you know, a lot of experience sharing was really valuable. This happened to me in my business, and this is what I did, and this was the result. And that was kind of how we communicated with each other. No one ever told each other what to do or what they think someone should do. They should say, you know what, I had a similar experience, and this is what happened. And then you kind of learn that way. And that was a great way of learning for me. So I was in that group for a few years, and that's when I had kind of decided like, okay, I want to build a lifestyle business because I really don't want to be working 40 hours a week, but I want to live a certain type of life. Like I want to make sure all my bills are paid. I want to have all my time. I want my employees to be really happy and taken care of. So I started that journey of creating that. And it started with really planning what I wanted my life to look like and then working
Yeah.
backwards, right? So if I want my life to look like this, how much money does the business need to make in order for me to live that way? And then with that, it's how many employees then do I need? You know, how many technicians do I need? How many trucks do I need on the road? And, I just worked at that for a while and I'm 36 now and I work maybe an hour a week in the business and my employees handle everything. But there was a lot of work, right? A lot of creating systems and processes and
Yeah.
making sure that all my employees were equipped with the knowledge they needed to solve any problem they would need. It was really like anytime they came to me, it was a an opportunity to equip them with stuff, knowledge, you know,
Yeah.
so they wouldn't need
Giving
to
them the
they
right
wouldn't
tools.
wouldn't need to come to me, right? So anytime there was a question that was asked, it was documented with an answer. Anytime
Yeah.
we were implementing a new service or process or anything, it was documenting training and equipping everyone with the knowledge so that no, they don't need me.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. I mean,
that
that's good
was,
to hear because it looks like you have an actual business on your hands. A lot of the
yeah.
owners just create jobs for themselves, and
Yeah, and I
that's
think that has a
yeah.
lot to do with a lack of planning and really understanding what you want your future to look like. I talk to a lot
Yeah.
of owners because I do some like free coaching and consulting on the side, and a lot of the owners that feel stuck are the ones that their strategy was if I just work really hard for a while, at some point I'll be able to slow down. And what ends up happening is they work really hard and then they get to the point where they want to slow down, but they're still stuck because the business relies on them so much. And they haven't thought about how to remove themselves while
Yeah.
still making sure the business can operate without them. And a lifestyle business it's a certain type of business. It's not like I don't want to get really big. I don't want to have a bunch of offices. I don't want to franchise out. There are people that want to do that and that's great, but that's a completely different, you have to attack that type of business in a different way.
Yeah.
And I really didn't want to be in the business, right? So it was like, how do I keep it, but still have the life that I want? but not really have to work in it so much. And that's kind of the business that I wanted to build. And it's great. I make plenty of money for the life that I live. I live very modest, live in a little house. I don't have many bills. I don't party or anything. I did all that in my 20s. So I've just been kind of saving. I spend my money really on my home. I live next door to my parents now. So I'll go through spurts of saving up a lot of money from the business, and then I'll work on something on the house, like the windows and doors, do the electric. I put a new AC in my parents' place, put a pool in last year, did the landscaping, like just improving our environment because my parents are getting older and they
Yeah.
don't do much. They're both retired, but it's really nice to be right next door to them and to create a space for them that's really comfortable. And that's
Yeah.
kind of just what
Uh,
I've been doing. And then
nice.
helping my brother in GorillaDesk, helping people understand and learn the software and then leverage the software to implement growth strategies and efficiency strategies in their business to help save them time and make them more money.
So are you part of GorillaDesk?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It day to day as well. Like
Kind of right
how's
now,
what?
I've kind of been in like a transitionary phase. Like I
Okay.
I give it as much time and energy as I can when I feel like I can. So I'll go through spurts where like I'll fill my schedule up with a bunch of calls one week and then I'll take a break for a bit. So I'm kind of like in and
Okay.
out of it. I spend a lot of time managing or just watching what's being talked about on social media, like on Facebook about CRMs, and I try
Yeah.
to kind of like soft market through there and answer questions for people and reach out to people. And I do training calls with current customers. So yeah, I'm
Okay.
kind of in it. Eventually, I'm gonna probably work my way into the business more full time, but
Yeah.
right now I'm just kind of relaxing and
Nice.
overseeing stuff.
Nice. That's cool. That's good. That's a very unique position to be in, but also a very blessed one. So congrats on that.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
that's huge. And yeah, I'm glad you have that mindset of reverse engineering the life that you want.
You have to. It's one of the best ways to achieve whatever goal you're trying to achieve. And that's kind of what we learned in EO, right?
Yeah.
It's like you paint the perfect picture of what you want your life to look like, and that has a value. And
Yeah.
I explain this to a lot of people that I talk to. It's like, your business, a lot of these owners, it's their business, right? And they got into it because they want to reap the benefits of the hard work that they put in, but what does that look like, right? And you can create whatever you want to create. Right? You can create a lifestyle business, you can stay a solo operator and make your own schedule and just make as much money as you want or need to make. Or you can go on the journey to create a really big company and raise money and spend a ton in marketing and grow a huge entity and take on all that if you want too. Some people are really hungry that way, and I know a lot of owners that have done a really great job at building large businesses, 50 plus trucks and multiple branches and multi-state, and it's impressive. But, you have to be able to stomach what comes with all that. It's a lot of
Yeah.
stress,
Yeah, there's a lot that comes with that for
a lot of
sure.
sacrifice, a lot of
A lot of
sacrifice.
sacrifice. Yeah, and it's just choosing your battles at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
knowing what you want is really important. Like knowing what you
yeah,
want your life to look like, I think is probably the most important thing. And then the next would be understanding numbers. Just being able to manage a profit and loss report and being able to understand what your profit and loss report is telling you about your business. And that's a weakness for a lot of owners because a lot of owners were technicians at some point or were in the field and they're having to handle the finances for the first time and they neglect it because it's uncomfortable. So they just kind of leave it and they focus on the stuff they're comfortable with and it ends up hurting them later on, you know?
yeah,
Like you owned a business, right? Like you had to manage all the money. And you had to purchase the equipment for your party rental stuff and then figure out how much money you needed to make that money back and some,
yeah,
and how many parties and things you needed to book and how you needed to price your stuff so that you were making money at the end of the month every month, right? And it seems
correct.
kind
Yeah.
of simple, but you
Yeah.
know, the the more money you make, it gets a little more complicated because your expenses get like my profit and loss report started out as 1 page and now it's three because now I have a
Yeah.
lot of different things I'm tracking. So, but you have to keep a pulse on it. So having the plan or having the goal and then really understanding how the numbers work because the goal is a number essentially,
Hmm.
right? Like that goal costs you money, whatever it is. If you want to live in a certain house and send your kids to a certain type of school, that all costs money. So you total that up, and that's what the business needs to do at least for you to live how you want to live. So then how do you get
Hmm.
the business to make that much? And then that becomes the game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's some great advice there. Now, what advice would you give to someone just starting out in this industry?
Just starting out
Just starting out, besides the fact of
in
them
pest
reverse
control,
engineering. Yeah.
Um, probably to figure out what you want to really be good at because in pest control, there's so many avenues you can take. Be a termite expert, you can do wildlife, you can be really good at lawn care stuff, you can be really good at mosquito control. You can do a lot of different things if you want. You can do more than one. If I could go back and start over again, s- I'd probably create what I've created now, but it took me a while to get here because in the beginning I was doing everything and I had to cut services as I figured out these services aren't as profitable as these. You know, these are really labor intensive and hard to train. So I'd probably just do like mosquito control and general pest because it's really simple. It's easy to train. The margins are really good. So if you're just starting out, figure out what service you want to be really good at that has a good enough margin that isn't really difficult just to start bringing money in. And then as you grow, decide like if you want to branch out into the other aspects of pest control, like bed bug, termite, whatever else. And if you have a job now and you're starting, keep the job until you're making enough money to support yourself. Don't just quit and then start from zero with pest control and hope that like eventually you're going to start making money. Like you need money coming in. Cash flow is so important in life in general, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't have a nest egg, keep your job or keep your part-time job. And if you're gonna bootstrap it, just be very conscious with the finances.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Figure out your niche, I guess, is the thing. Figure out what your niche
Yeah.
is gonna be and then be really good at that.
Yeah.
And
And
you gotta
double down
network
on.
like crazy in the beginning. I did a lot of networking. I went to so many different, I went to BNI groups, Chamber of Commerce stuff. I was on
Okay.
Nextdoor app. I was anywhere I could be to show myself and provide just
Yeah.
value, on the Nextdoor. Nextdoor was really good for me in the beginning because I was able to establish myself as the neighborhood expert that wasn't a salesman. So I
Mm,
used it in a way where I would find posts where people were talking about things that I have an expertise in, and I was just giving them free information. But I established myself as the expert, but I always made sure that it wasn't a sales pitch for my business. It was, hey, I'm Chad. I own this company. I'm licensed in this and this. This is what's happening on your property. Let us know if you want
yeah.
us to help, but this is what it is. Like you're getting a real answer from a professional, not just a neighbor that doesn't
Yeah.
really have experience in that. And then over time, people just started referring to me there because I was so active. It was like, just reach out to Chad. He'll help you. He'll take care of you. So that was a
Nice.
free thing. Doing as many free things or, like if you have time to network, do as much networking as you can. Meet the other pest control operators in your area and see, if you could fill a gap maybe that they have in their service offering. That was a really cool thing that I did too. I partnered with a termite guy. I have a buddy that does bee removal. So I refer the work that I don't do to them, and they refer the work that they don't do to me. And
Yeah, it's
that
very
was helpful too.
common. That's very common in multiple industries, and but many people starting off don't know that they're like, why would I talk to the competitor? But
You
many
just
times
do,
it's like,
you don't view them as a competitor
hmm,
unless you can't figure out a way to partner with them, right? So I have
hmm,
a bunch of partners in the industry. I do have competitors out there, but those are people where, you know, there's no room for us to work together. which is fine. But like in party rental stuff, like you could probably have a caterer or a
Hmm.
magician or whatever, like people that you know in your network that you can help add more value or solve problems for your current customer. And if they already know, like, and trust you, odds are they're going to use your buddy, right?
Yep.
Because people are kind of lazy and they don't want to do research and they want to look stuff up. But if they're like, Marvin told me about this great caterer, let's just use them, they're going to use them.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
that helps develop the relationship between you and whatever other partners you have.
Yeah. What forms of marketing do you guys do in your business?
In my business, we have a very small Google ad budget, and it's just really to make sure that we stay ahead of whatever we churn, which is industry standard, like 3 to 5%, around like three. So I spend a couple grand a month, but mainly Google My Business has been like the most impactful marketing tool.
Yeah.
Google My Business, managing that, making sure that we're getting reviews, we're responding to reviews, adding images, and just keeping up with the Google My Business stuff. Having a nice
What's your
website.
having a nice website as well? Yeah.
Yeah, the website converts a lot, right? Because people find your website, it needs to look good, but it really needs to be an avenue for them to contact you directly more than anything, right? Having
Yeah.
information on there is great and a bunch of keywords and all that stuff, but really, people are going to look at the website for 2 seconds, see that you do what they need, and then they're going to try to contact you. They're not going to
Hmm.
go click through all the tabs and read about all of the bugs and services you provide, usually. They want a quote. People want a
Yeah.
price. So on my website, I made it really easy for people to request a quote for a service. So they can put in the size of their home, the pest that they're having an issue with, and then they will get an accurate quote instantly. And then that information gets, you know, delivered to my office staff and they follow up. So any of those quote requests that come in after hours, we follow up with them the next day. Now we have AI tools that can follow up with them instantly and answer questions and book appointments and create customer accounts. So that's cool stuff. I mean, we have a lot of AI tools that my brother's building into GorillaDesk to support staff and to support the owners with that type of stuff.
Well, what other tools do you guys use? Now I'm a little interested in that. Well, how do you guys implement it into your business besides like that answering question part?
How do I implement AI
Yeah.
specifically?
Hmm.
Outside of GorillaDesk, I use ChatGPT a lot. Other than that, I just use the AI tools that my brother is building into the software. Mainly right now, we have an AI chatbot. We're about to release one that does voice, so you can actually speak to an AI agent over the phone.
Okay.
And then we're essentially building ChatGPT into the software. So you'll be able
Yeah.
to ask the program to pull up custom reports for you. Like, hey, show me all of the customers that haven't had service in the last 6 months. And then it'll pull up a report for you.
Yeah.
And you can request that report regularly. You can say, provide me with this report every Friday so I can see it. Provide me with
Yeah.
a report that shows me how much revenue each one of my technicians is doing each day. Whatever. Like you can ask ChatGPT literally anything. So it'll be able to pull any data that we have in the system and deliver it to you however you want it delivered. It'll also be able to execute tasks and things for you in the future. So,
Yeah.
if you want to, like, it's about to rain. Let's say it rains all day and I had work scheduled for 5 technicians all day. I can ask the system to move all of that work to the following day and send out confirmations and do all that work. So you don't have to do it manually now. So
Yeah.
eventually the system's going to be able to execute on a lot of stuff and really support you on the admin side. And we're rolling out a lot of the AI stuff probably by the end of the year.
Nice. For the voice agent that you spoke about, are you talking about reaching out to leads through voice agents, or is this talking
Yeah, we'll
to
be able
it through a
to.
chatbot?
Yeah, so
Okay.
we'll be able to give it a list and say contact these people and see if you can, sell them something.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
you can train the AI agent to speak however you want to speak and provide whatever information you want to provide.
Yeah.
So right now we have there's a conversation script that you upload and you
Hmm.
customize it for the text, and it's really just like the workflow for the AI agent for the conversation. First, find out if they're a new or existing customer. Now the AI agent knows because it looks into the system first. So when you
Hmm.
contact the agent, it'll know, hey Chad, welcome back. How can I help you? It'll like know that you're a customer. So it'll speak to you like you're an existing customer. And then it'll help you with whatever you need help with. Hey, I need to reschedule my appointment. It'll say no problem. What date works for you? You tell it. It'll say, okay, I have you on the schedule for this time. Just like
Yeah.
how a person would interact with another person.
Yeah. I have a buddy of mine that implements that into many SaaS companies, and it's insane how it already worked well, but it's insane how much better it has worked
It's
in just
getting
the last 3 months.
Yeah, it's getting a lot better really quick. I mean, in another year, it's going to be even crazier.
Yeah.
So my brother's really focused on staying ahead of the AI technology, and he has a whole
Yeah.
team dedicated to AI product
It,
development and
it,
implementation.
it's very important, and you have to be on top of it because yeah, it's something that's advancing week by week. Pretty nuts. Like,
Yeah,
eh, yeah, just a little bit of background. I'm part of the incubator that helps me with my agency, and so everyone's always, bouncing off of each other, and just even in the incubator, the stuff that they're progressing it's insane. Like they already have agents that are overseeing all of our campaigns, so we don't even almost have to touch them.
yeah,
Well,
and they
actually,
can find
if
inefficiencies,
they
and then
perform.
they'll fix them for you right there on the spot, and then they'll test
Yep.
it and they'll put it to work. Like,
Yep, literally every morning, 7 a.m., we have a bot that oversees our campaigns, changes the copy if it needs to, changes the subject lines on cold email campaigns. It just works so efficient, so then you receive your reply rate that you're needing.
the image and video
It's
creation is getting really good too. Like
yeah.
if you remember, when AI pictures were first coming out or videos, it looked kind of funny, it looked like
Mhm.
alien. Now it's starting to look really real, and in a few more months it'll look even more real. And marketing
Yeah,
material. I think there was a company who dropped like the first fully AI generated commercial on TV not that long ago.
yeah.
And so you have these companies that, they have millions of dollars in marketing budget for commercial ad spend, and they're not going to need to use it, you know?
No, it's costing like a tenth of what they needed to. A
Uh,
commercial would cost like half a
Super
million
Bowl
dollars.
commercials, what? Look at,
Yeah,
I guarantee you at least one Super Bowl commercial this year is going to be AI generated.
100%. There's no doubt in my mind. It's insane. It's fascinating. It really is. And that's the reason why I wanted to get into this industry because, you also get to build that lifestyle business too. Because when you start having really good systems and processes, the world is your oyster at that point because you just need to be on
Yeah,
top of the
automation
game
is
and
huge.
provide value.
Automation is huge. Like efficient
Yeah.
automation that is accurate and
Yeah.
useful is the best.
Yeah. Is there
People
anything
are
else?
afraid that it's gonna like take jobs and all that stuff, but it's gonna change jobs. Now that my staff has AI to use, it's just gonna make their jobs better, right? There's gonna be
Hmm.
a lot more AI management because it still needs work, right? It needs attention. You need to be directing it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You need somebody overseeing it still. Yeah. Yeah. It's what Sam Altman was saying, it's not people losing their job. It's the people that are not using AI to help them in their jobs that are going to lose their jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very,
leverage
very.
it. Leverage it. We're in a really interesting time.
Hmm.
The internet was invented and everyone was freaking out, but now everyone's used to it. Now here's AI and everyone's kind of freaking out, but eventually it'll just be part of your day to day. It'll be in everything. It'll be in your car. It's already kind of on your phone, but it's going to be
Yeah.
baked into everything that has technology.
It's already in Teslas.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. I could talk about this all day, but what changes did you make that drastically had you save a lot of time in your business? Pest control.
The biggest one is probably just documenting stuff, like documenting processes and making sure that my staff understood them and knew them. And not being married to them, but at least having them in place so that I wasn't being bothered or I didn't become a bottleneck between my staff and them executing on something, right?
Hmm.
Like, so anytime they had to come to me, it was slowing them down. So I had to figure out how to eliminate, the need for them to ask me stuff and get answers from me and get approval from me and get quotes from me and get this and that from me. It was,
Hmm.
I want to make sure you guys have everything you need to do everything. That I mean, I can show you this one document is probably was the most important tool for me. I'll show it to you really quick because I always encourage owners to document their processes because your employees they don't have what's in your head, right? And if you're
Hmm.
training them in person, that's great, but they still have to retain it. And if they forget, then what? Then they're asking you,
Yeah.
right? So created this really cool document that evolved over time and still kind of evolves. Let's see. So can I share? Yeah, I can share. Can you see that?
Yes.
So yeah, it started out as like a list of all of the services I provide because
Yeah.
I wanted my staff to understand everything, right? Like a technician has different understanding of what we do than an admin. An admin's really good at scheduling and onboarding people and selling the stuff, but they don't really know what the technicians are doing when they're out there. So I was trying to figure out a way to get them to understand what the technicians are doing while they're out there so that they could answer all the questions that they would get from a customer. And it just started from a list. And you can see on the left, I had the list just goes. So it started with
Yeah.
services, then it started with the bugs that we service, and then it started with the products that we use. And then it got into operational stuff like what happens when we need to give a quote to a condo that needs your general liability insurance. What kind of discounts do we offer? How do we offer discounts? How do we deal with rainy day stuff? Like, so here's like, this is just an ant service. What our ant service includes, what our application process and what products we use. Is it safe for pets? Pricing options, and then recommending regular maintenance. So that's all these services. And people ask me to send them this document all the time. I'm like, no way, dude. I've been working on this thing for so long. Had to
Yeah.
deal with people that complain about certain things, how mosquito traps work. Literally, like everything is in here. How we process
Wow,
credit
that's a
card,
huge document.
how we
That is
process
huge.
credit card stuff. But what was really cool is I started creating this document before we had the AI and all that kind of stuff, right? And so what I was able to do once my brother built the AI stuff was copy and paste this and train the AI on how we operate. And it learned it
Hmm.
right away, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, like documenting, getting it all down on paper, and then this becomes your training material and your
Yeah.
reference for your employees. And dude, it just goes on and on. Like, and this is how our sales process, following up with leads. What questions do we ask? What information are we gathering? Literally, friggin' everything I could think of is in here. Products that we recommend to customers to buy for certain things. Like if they have fruit flies or board flies in their house, we recommend that they clean their drains. What do they use? How do they do it? Make sure they have all that. If they have moths in a closet, we recommend that you put pheromone traps in there. And we don't provide all this stuff for everything.
Yeah.
There's like so many different things that happen in the realm of pest
Yeah.
control. So we want to be able to equip our customers with stuff they can do themselves also.
Yeah, that's
Um,
great because and then in their head, you providing all that free information, now,
yeah,
you're trusted by them instantly.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
So
that's
that's
great.
one thing, like documenting is huge. What else? Save time. What else to save time? Leveraging people, right?
Hmm.
Employees help you save time because they do stuff that you don't have to do anymore. So figuring out like who you need to do what was great. I knew that I never wanted to sit in the office and do admin work or office work. So I made sure that I always have staff there. Even like now I have three. I don't even need three people in my office, but if one is out, I have two. If two are out, I still have one. And that means I don't have to be behind the desk. I still have my freedom and
Yep.
everything's still getting taken care of. But because I have three, they're supported really well. And if one person's working on scheduling, someone else can be answering the phones, and then someone else could be processing previous day's work or whatever. And they kind
Yeah.
of bounce around doing that and they communicate with each other throughout their workday. Hey, I'm working on this. Can someone make sure they manage the phones? Hey, so and so called. Can you get back to them? I'm doing this. And so when they're working throughout their day, they have it blocked off so that way when they are doing scheduling or customer support or whatever, they're not being interrupted, right?
Yeah.
So if someone's in their 2 hour scheduling block, the other two admin know that that person's really busy doing that. We need to make sure that they don't get distracted or vice versa.
Yeah.
And then the tech side too, right? Like making sure I have enough technicians in the field so that I don't have to end up in the field. I'll go and support the team if I absolutely need to, but if I have a technician out right now, I'm okay because I have enough tech staff.
Yeah.
But sometimes things happen. Sometimes I'll have two guys that are out sick and then another one had requested their vacation and then you got to do what you got to do. And that's just part of the business, but putting barriers in between you and the things that would pull you into the business.
Yeah. Quick question on sales part, just out of curiosity. Do you guys only handle incoming calls, or do you guys reach out as well?
I don't really do any
Cold.
outbound. I don't have lists
Wow.
that I hit or anything like that. Everything's inbound. And a
Wow.
lot
That's
of
great.
a lot of my success, I think I would attribute to our ability to really efficiently cross-sell our current customer base multiple services. So we started out doing a lot of different things, but as of now, we're pretty much a general pest and mosquito control company with very little bit of lawn care. Lawn care take is maybe like 5% of our total revenue. The
Okay.
majority of our revenue comes from general pest control and mosquito control, but there was a point where I had a bunch of mosquito control people and I had a bunch of general pest control people, but I wanted all of my general pest to also be buying mosquito, and I wanted all my mosquito to also be buying general pest. And so, I was doing like $800 annual average spend per customer at one point until I cross-sold my services to both, and now it's at 17. So I was able to make way more money with less customers because I got my current customers to spend more money with me, right? Just by upselling them stuff. And a lot of new businesses, they're so focused on new customer acquisition that they neglect making sure that their current customers are spending as much as they can with them right now, buying as much as possible. Like they'll onboard them with whatever it is the customer wanted initially, and they won't say like, "Hey, by the way, do you want to do this, this, or this?" And just doing that helps drive, revenue growth. I was
Yeah.
able, once I figured out that I needed to do it and I started doing it, I was able to pull another like 30% of my revenue out of my current customers just by cross-selling.
Wow.
And
That's
most
great.
most pest control companies or service type companies offer more than one type of service. A lot of
Yeah.
like even like window washers, some of them do pressure cleaning too, or some of them also do car detailing or whatever. So, trying to maximize the amount of money that you're earning on each customer is really huge, especially when you're first starting out.
Yeah. What are your goals for the next few years?
This is this is one of those things that I've been kind of struggling with, honestly, because I didn't plan for after I achieved what I wanted to achieve with the business. So now I'm at a
Mm,
point now where I'm kind of in limbo, right? Where there's an opportunity for me to work full time in GorillaDesk, but I have to
yeah.
really commit to that. And I have a lot of freedom right now, and the business doesn't really need me, so I could do that. But I'm not really sure, like even how I want to function in my brother's business because
Yeah.
I feel like what I'm really good at is educating, but that's not really scalable unless I create a lot of content around that. But once I create all the content around educating people on the tools and strategies and stuff, then what? Because it's all created, and then what do you do, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like as of right now, I'm 36. I'm making a decent amount of money. Kind of want to just enjoy my family as much as I can because my parents are getting older. So that's really all I'm kind of focused on is making sure my parents are good and I'm able to see my brother and support my brother when I need to. Other than that, I don't honestly have a whole lot going on. Like I'm picking up a lot of different hobbies, started learning piano.
Any
Just
pickleball?
I was playing pickleball a lot, but right now it's raining, right? So this would be
Okay.
pickleball time about, but courts have been wet every
Yeah.
day for like the last few months. So I'm waiting for winter. But yeah, I love pickleball. But even that, like, what? You're gonna play pickleball for a couple hours. I can play piano for like an hour,
Yeah.
and it's like, what do you do with the rest of your day? So,
Yeah.
I've been thinking about getting into coaching and consulting more legitimately and like charge for my time, but I love doing
Hmm.
it so much and I've been doing it for free for so long. And like it's hard for me to want to ask people to pay me for it. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like doing it. I was coaching volleyball for a while, but that was a lot. It was too much. So
Yeah.
the future,
Yeah.
I don't know. I need to plan again, and then I need to deconstruct how to get to whatever that looks like and start all over. But you kind of found me at a limbo phase, and it's been like that for the last couple of years. Like once I was able to really remove myself from the business, I felt
Yeah.
kind of stuck because I didn't think about it. And it's different because I'm single, I don't have a family. Like if I had a wife and kids, like my life would just probably be consumed with all
Yeah.
that stuff,
Hmm.
but I don't, so I don't know.
Question. What were you great at in your business? Would you
What
say
was
it's
I
just
great at?
would you say it was just
Me
implementing, creating?
personally,
Yes. Yeah.
probably efficiency stuff, like finding
Yeah.
out one of my core values is making it easy. And it's kind of based on the idea that if something feels complicated or is hard or just isn't easy, it needs to be fixed or eliminated. And so I got really good at that because I knew that one of my goals ultimately was for my employees not to need me. And if they
Yeah.
needed me, there was a barrier, something was difficult for them, there was a roadblock. So it was eliminating all of that, really, making things efficient for them to do their work every day without any problems.
Yeah.
So probably that. I
Yeah.
mean, they say I'm a good leader and they really like working here. And I think it's because I've made sure everyone has what they need to do what they need to do.
Yeah. Now with that mindset, and you being so efficient, do you want to grow still or no? You still just want to like you're
I want to grow for my team. I don't really care to grow for me, but it would be nice to give them more. And they do really well. Like they have really good salaries. They have full health benefits here. We have 401ks. So in terms of like a business, I'm providing wages and benefits that definitely, rival my competitors and what they do. Pest control is a type of industry where a lot of businesses only offer an hourly rate or a salary unless
yeah.
you work for a big company. The big companies usually, depending on the culture, but usually they work you to the bone, but you get all the stuff, right? You get a good salary, you get the health benefits and 401k. So I'll probably really I'm motivated just to keep continue growing for them, just to make sure that I can keep up with inflation
That's
and keep
great.
them comfortable because at the end of the day, my employees are everything. When I lose an employee, it's painful because then I have to find someone that's going to be a good fit for my team, get them up to speed, and then get them out there
Yeah.
producing. So ideally, I want all of my employees to stay here for as long as possible.
What do you think it would take for you to grow comfortably, enough, I'm assuming for you so you can compensate them more if that's what you want. What do you think it would take?
Not much, just more marketing efforts. And there's a lot of different avenues you can go. Like
Yeah.
I could hire a door-to-door team to come down one season and bang a bunch of doors and increase customer volume there. I can throw a bunch of marketing at Google, Facebook, I could do that stuff if I want.
Yeah. Is there
Just
anything
pull those levers.
in particular stopping you from doing that? Or it's just the fact that you're just in this
Yeah,
limbo
that's it, right? Like I'm at where I want to be.
yeah.
So I have to decide if I want to grow by how much and you know how much bandwidth does my current team have?
Hmm.
Because every time you add a team member, you're incurring more expenses and more responsibility and all that kind of stuff. I have to buy another truck, equip the truck, get that person, make sure they have a full route, all
Yeah.
that. And right now, everything's running really smooth
Yeah.
and we're making plenty of money. So I don't really need to grow, but if you're not growing, you're dying. So I think, because things get more expensive. You have to be growing just to keep up with the cost of everything.
Yeah. especially now.
But
So things going up.
I'm not afraid of where I'm at, right? Like I know if I feel that pressure, like I do need to, if I ever feel like I do need to grow, then I'll execute on growth strategy and I'll grow.
What do you think you could do now to save more time for your team?
To
Or you
save
think
more
you've
time for
maxed,
them.
yeah, or you think you've maximized it completely?
It's pretty
Like you've done such a good,
maximized. It's
yeah.
pretty
So it
maximized.
sounds
Yeah,
it. Sounds it.
I've been working on the efficient, making it efficient, like really heavily over like the last 5 years from the routes. We have some routes where my guys won't leave a neighborhood all day long. They're
Oh
really
yeah?
tight. Windshield time's really low. The hardest thing, which I can't control, is just dealing with the weather, right? So right now it's pouring and it's Thursday, and we probably did a bunch of mosquito control today. So we're gonna have a bunch of customers calling and saying, "Hey, it rained after service. Now I got to fit them all in." But that just comes down to having bandwidth on the schedule for my staff to get that work done, which I have. And the thing is, if I grow and I fill their schedules and then I have
Mhm.
to reschedule a full day, I'm not going to have any space. So then I would need to bring another truck on, another technician to create that bandwidth again for overflow or for rescheduling. But this is like a seasonal thing that we're good at it now. We know how to prepare for it. So now that we're, at the beginning of rainy season, we create the schedule in a way where if it does rain, we can easily move stuff because we have space. Or we'll have one floater tech where like their route will be empty and maybe they'll ride with another tech for a few months. And when it rains and
Yeah,
everyone gets busy, then he goes into his own truck again. Just we kind
I
of,
see. Okay.
yeah, we're kind of agile that way and we never get behind. So right now it's operating perfectly.
Yeah. Your Google Ads budget, do you handle that?
No,
You guys outsource that?
my brother's team does. So because
Oh,
my
that's great.
brother has a really nice big company, he also offers it as well, he offers like website management, SEO. But because he has
Nice.
dedicated people for marketing, like they help me with mine. So he'll have one of
Nice.
his
That's
marketing
good.
specialists just tweak my stuff every now and then. And, I'll work with him every now and then to give him content to run an ad or change something on the website. But my brother
Nice.
just actually just built a website creation tool that's powered by AI. You fill out a questionnaire and you give it your logo, and it gives you a website instantly, already optimized,
Yeah.
and makes creating and propping up a website super, super easy.
It's so fascinating. I love hearing that stuff because 2 years ago, not just any software could do those things. Now there's
Now it's
small
if you
teams.
don't, you're gonna be left
Yeah.
behind, and that's kind of where my
Yeah.
brother's at in his industry, right? Because he's in SaaS, and all his
Hmm.
competitors are implementing AI tools and stuff also, and it's kind of a
Hmm.
race.
Yeah.
It's kind of a race because you need to get the tools integrated, but that's not the end, right? Because then it's building more tools and then approving and adapting the current tools to stay current as the
Yeah.
technology progresses. And because it's moving so fast, it's constant, right? So it's
Hmm.
really like getting version one out of whatever tool is and then immediately working on version two.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fascinating. I'm sure it's stressful for him because you really got to keep up.
He loves it though. And
I'm sure you have to love it.
yeah, he loves working.
Yeah.
He loves being on the computer, managing his team. He's a creator, really. At like his
Yeah.
core is he's a designer and he's a creator. So he's been at it almost 14 years now with the software company, and he's
Just this
created
one software?
this one. Yeah, this was
Oh
the
wow, I
business
didn't know
that
they
stuck
were.
for him. I mean, he
Wow.
had a bunch of different businesses before GorillaDesk, but GorillaDesk was the one that,
Hmm.
really motivated him, and he's doing really well with it, but he's also a really hard worker. And you have to be built that way. My brother
Yeah.
has a lot of grit, man, and it hasn't been easy for him all the time. And because he spends so much time and energy on it, it's a very like personal project for him.
Yeah.
And he makes plenty of money, but he loves creating. And so like I don't see a future where my brother isn't working on building more technology.
Yeah.
It's just who he is now, or it's not
It's
who he
good
is,
though.
but it's like what he
No.
loves. It's what he really
Yeah,
loves.
that's good because a lot of
I'm the
people don't have
lazier
that.
entrepreneur between the two of us, and I was kind of forced into entrepreneurialism, but then I figured out a way to be lazy about it. But he doesn't want to stop. He's an animal.
That's good though. It's I'm sure it's good also seeing him because you guys are like on different sides of stuff, so you guys learn even more because I'm sure he learned a lot from your efficiencies on how you're very
No, no,
now
he's
is he better?
I'm telling you, he's a freaking animal, bro. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
what is it, a unicorn?
Like he's one of those guys that's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, he's really smart and driven and works really hard. And
Yeah.
there aren't a lot of people that are like that, but the ones that are find great success, but they earn it. They earn it.
What was your biggest challenge with the transition when you getting the company from your parents?
The biggest challenge was accepting ownership, kind of like figuring out how to realize that this is mine now and I have to keep it going. Because I went into it thinking I was going to play a support role, supporting my brother to
Okay.
grow it. And then I became the operator, like the man in charge, and I had to not like come to terms with it. I had to accept the fact that I needed to be comfortable imposing my will on the business. So I had to change my mindset around the business. Then it was a lot of figuring out what do I want. That was probably the hardest part is like figuring out how to answer that question and then solve the problem, because I didn't go into it saying I want to own and build a big company. I went into it, I want to support my brother building this business and whatever he needs, I'll do.
Yeah.
Then he wasn't there and I was like, okay, now it's whatever I need to do. So I
Yeah.
needed to figure out what I needed to do and just get it done. But having people around me to help was so important. Joining the EO thing, my brother got me into that. That was huge. Being part of the Facebook groups, and then just networking in the community. And I had a lot of support. Like you don't have to do it alone. There are a lot of people in a lot of industries that are helpful people, that want to see other people succeed and that will share. So you can't be afraid to like just ask for help, ask for advice, ask to do a podcast. Like people will
Yeah.
say yes, people will help you.
I
Sometimes
get
there are
a
snakes in the grass though, and you have to be careful because sometimes people are out for themselves, trying to just figure out how they can personally gain from leveraging you. But
yeah.
you learn to identify those people and you just stay away from them. You know, yeah, the hardest part was
Yeah.
figuring out how to own it, how to own the business and be the owner and drive it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I wasn't planning
Yeah.
on
I
being an
was
owner.
yeah, I was and wasn't in a similar position. Uh
Partnerships are tricky, man.
very,
And if
very.
everything isn't super well defined from the go and there's
Yeah.
agreements and like then things become
Yeah.
cloudy,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. And I was always warned about it too. Always warned about it,
yeah,
like from the get, you have to, have
establish
clear.
roles and responsibilities and
Yeah.
expectations and be
Yeah.
really honest all the time. And even if you're not, if you're out of integrity with something, confront it and say, you know what? I was supposed to do this thing and I didn't do it. I'm really sorry,
Mm.
but I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do this. And if you're in a partnership, if anyone's in a partnership and it's not that way, it's gonna be very difficult.
Yeah.
If you guys
It,
can't
it,
own where your faults are and you don't pull your weight, it's gonna be uncomfortable. Animosity builds really quickly and it
very
destroys
quickly. Yeah.
relationships if it's not addressed.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And
Even within an
sour.
organization like mine, even like a little business like mine, like jealousy can happen, right? People
Hmm.
could be upset about like so and so has a lighter workload than me. What's going on with that? Now you have a little bit of discomfort. And if they don't talk about it, they keep talking to themselves about it and make it worse. And then it becomes
Hmm.
cancer, you
Yeah.
know? And that's something
Uh,
that's really hard or difficult to manage in a business, is keeping the culture clean and like and light and positive. And it
Yeah.
only takes one bad employee to start talking to one, and then that one talks to the other. And so just
Yeah.
being really frank and honest and real,
Yeah.
is
Absolutely. No,
important.
that was great. Last question before I let you go. What is one key takeaway you would like to leave with everybody?
One key takeaway, probably, I feel like one of the most important things is just understanding that you can create whatever you want to create, right? Like you can live whatever lifestyle you want to live. So try to really define what that looks like and then use whatever business you're building to achieve that for yourself, right? And it could be anything. It could be pest control, window washing, party rental stuff, but
Hmm.
really be real with yourself and really try to understand what you want your life to look like.
Yeah. Absolutely. Chad, I wish I could ask you a ton more questions. Fortunately, I'm running out of time here to talk with a few of my team members. But I appreciate you jumping on this call. I look forward to speaking to you again. And
Cool.
yeah, I appreciate it. I hope audience can, take away something from this.
Cool. It was nice meeting you, Marvin. Let's be in touch. I love what you
Yeah.
guys are doing, so it'd be neat to stay up to speed with what you guys got going on in AI world.